Life is cruel. Life is very, very cruel. This is a topic I wanted to talk about because this explains a whole lot. A lot of people believe in people being compassionate and people being really understanding. Like, some of the girls I have, a lot of people who I look up to, like Mr. Pledger. You have to understand, a lot of people, like, want that in life. A lot of people want my perspective. A lot of people want nice people like me and hang around because a lot of people grew up with the wrong people and tried to impress the wrong people and got stuck with those people because they kept on trying to be hard instead of trying to be compassionate. Where a lot of people fall off is literally they think that being hard is the only thing that exists, and no, it's not. It's multidimensional. Yeah, assholes exist, but they don't always win at the end. And we always look at literally the people in high school versus the gangster. Gangsters are very prominent in high school because that is their age bracket. That is how they operate. They operate on a teenage level. But what a gangster is, before I go into detail, is he's somebody who already accepted that he fucked up his life, so he makes the best out of the situation. That is the mask that he holds. Everything that a gangster does whenever he gets in trouble, the attitude he gets when he gets in trouble, how he doesn't give a fuck, how he's always nonchalant about serious situations, all that is a mask. The mask is he's making the best out of the situation when he's already fucked. Where in reality, he's constantly putting himself in a bad situation. That's the reality of a gangster. I just have to get that out the right now. The mask is, I'm always solid. I'm always this. Nothing can phase me. And then shit piles up until it's too late. They don't believe in this thing called escalating. Because literally, that's too big of a word. That's beyond their comprehension. I have to get that out the way because a lot of people, take that route. And a lot of people live whole lives without even hearing the word escalate. And that's what makes it ghetto. That's what makes it elementary. That's why you don't 100% want to be a gangster. But I'm very understandable because I grew up around territories where I know there's family involved. I'm like, man, do what you need to do with your family. Just don't get me involved. And literally, but here is why life is cool, is because they're put in those situations and because literally some of them are forced to be in the gang activity because of family, so I'm able to understand that. That's why, Guru used to fuck with me, because he understood this and that. He always told me to stay out the way. The maximum of a gangster used to tell me to stay out the way, keep on being a good person. And this is why people fall for the other side. It's because of this example right here. I'm trying to tell you, life is very cruel. I've been through a whole lot of things where literally I have dealt with a lot of pain from girls. I dealt from a lot of pain from peers. I grew up around gang members. If you didn't know, Ben is a Crip. I'm sorry, I'm putting that out there. If you guys are slow, if you go watch season 1 and go watch Ben the 100, Ben is a Samoan Crip. Sorry, no way around it. No way around it. Ben was. If you haven't realized that by now, then you're not really social. I'm sorry, like the way he talks and everything already gives you a clear indication that he was, not talking about a Samoan Crip. And Lily, I grew up around that territory, and it was crazy as fuck because literally he put me through the most shit and stuff like that. Ben used to pug me, keep on saying that you need to learn how to fight this and that. When he's obviously an advanced gang member and shit like that, he would look good in front of Robert. Like Ben would throw a fake and take advantage of the fact that I'm autistic, and he would make me cry in front of people. He didn't actually make me cry, but it was at a time where I was trying to stay out of trouble, and I was trying to stop smoking. I was trying to do this and that, but I couldn't get over my weed addiction at the time. So literally, I was hanging out at Robert's house. He's like, I would hella knock you out. He took advantage of the fact that I was high, and he faked the punch, and I flinched, and he took advantage of the fact that I flinched. That's really bad. In reality, when you flinch, that means that you're a better fighter because you have a faster reaction. But high school has this shit of really slandering and gaslighting and shit like that. Do you know where it got to? There was this time at lunch where everybody kept on picking on me. 2 for flinching. 2 for flinching. So guess what I said to them? He's like, 2 for flinching. He's like, Lily, you flinched, and Lily, I get to hit you. I'm like, can I hit you back? That is what happens when you become a man. Gang members don't know how to get past that shit. That is why it happens. That's how you have to deal with situations. They may have the peer pressure. Oh, you flinched, that means I'll beat you in a fight. No, that means I can duck faster. That means I have faster reactions and shit like that. But that mask, that means you're scared. No, that doesn't mean you're scared. That means you're aware of the situation. That means you comprehend the situation. And that's why that's the mask. Okay, so what happens if they actually challenge you to a brawl instead of saying 2 for flinching? But society doesn't work like that. Society is going to take the fact that you flinch over the fact that you beat them in a fight. And that's what makes this a cruel world. Just like the ARL. Just like everything. It's a very, very cruel world. Because literally, what happens is a whole lot of losers suck dick to get into leadership positions. And then they abuse those leadership positions. And then they constructive criticize people like me, and then those people become more successful, and then literally he's like, well, remember, I'm the one who put you on. I'm the one who trained you. You're also the one who treated me like shit. That is the moral of this video. That's the basis of the video. This tells you the end of how to get even, but this is telling you why life is cool. But if you get past it, you're really, really strong. Not when the going gets tough, you get tougher, but actually analyze the situation and be realistic about the situation. That's how you come up out of a really shitty life. What you have to do is you have to face the devil at his own game. You have to live the devil's lie in order to see that it's a lie. Because what you have to do is you have to do everything that the devil says, and then once you do it, you gotta be like, what the fuck? Where's my prize? Like, you told me to do this and that. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't expect you to be as strong. And then what the devil's gonna do, he's gonna kick you out of his room, and then he's gotta be like, I can't fuck with him anymore. He's too strong, he's too smart, and then you'll have God. And then God's always gonna be by his side, and then you're gonna have bigger tools than the devil ever gave you because you got with the actual boss instead of somebody who pretends to be one. And it's a cruel war because you grow up with the fake boss, but then you learn how to work with the real one. And I'm sorry, but there's no way around this. Where am I getting at? Why is life so cruel? I haven't even given you the real examples where people like Ali, what they used to say to me, how I used to get picked on by Justin, how I used to literally hold on to this thing, like where I used to think that anime was real and shit. This is for the anime community. Do you know what happened to me while I held on to Naruto Uzumaki? Believe it, this is a very, very, very sad story. Literally freaking, I keep on telling anime fans on top of anime fans, they keep on thinking that if they hit me with morals, they're gonna stop me from fucking girls. I'm like, no. Do you know how hard I had it when I was a kid? Do you know when I used to say Naruto Uzumaki, believe it? I got my ass kicked when I was in 7th grade by a 3rd grader who was a gang member. Robert's little brother beat me up when I was in 7th grade. I wasn't left bloody and shit, but he still beat me in a fight. I got beat by a 3rd grader because I thought anime was real. Stop with this mentality. This is what the fuck Stone Stick is. Stone Stick like me, not learning how to fight, and then he's gonna get his ass kicked by a gang member who's forced to fight in the streets. I'm sorry, man. And I told my psychiatrist one day, I'm like, I act like I'm so angry. But whenever I put to a test, I can't do shit. I can't stand up to Ben. I got my ass kicked by a 3rd grader, but I kicked Justin's ass, but everything is always gonna be foreshadowed. You're always gonna be over foreshadowed by people like Ben and all the other shit. Because literally, it didn't matter because I did beat Robert's little brother again, and he never beat me in a fight again, but that still was hella fucking horrendous, the fact that I still got embarrassed like that. And that's all because I believed in Naruto Uzumaki believer. I went up to his little brother saying, is this how you raise your kids? And I didn't block my face, and he happened to be a gang member. I'm sorry, life is cruel. But that didn't happen when I was ready, huh? And that's how you get over on life. Literally, you deal with the toxic masculinity, but then you put yourself in a position where you don't have to deal with it. And look what happened. I came back and I started fucking up grown men. I started fucking up people 5 times older than my age. I started doing this and that. I started squaring up on Uncle Jay. All that shit happened. Even though I lost to Robert's little brother in 7th grade. This is how life pans out. But people gotta take that one example and that's where they fail. Oh, you know that he got his ass kicked by a little kid? Do you know that he fucked up 3 people on the freeway when he was blind? Come on, bro. That's how you get even in life. And this really defines why people are stupid. That's a part of the Matrix. They like what's appealing more than what's actually the truth. That's why they do truthful flinching, but they're not going to challenge you to a fight. And you can't always go by truthful flinching. The devil works truthful flinching, and God's works, you want to fight? That is literally the difference. Let me get really cruel. So you already know Naruto Uzumaki doesn't believe in nerds. Okay, I took my embarrassment, but I came back for it. I didn't let that stay. What nerds do is they let that embarrassment stay, and they cover it up by, I still have Smash Brothers. I still have people like Stone. I still have this and that. You can't accept that forever because life is cruel. Life is very cruel. You're hiding from how cruel life is, and you have to face it head on. Do you know what happened to me? Why people kept on calling me autistic? Eris, you don't really know how to make beats. Eris, you don't really know how to dance. You don't really have rhythm. That's why you're autistic and this and that. Lily, do you know where that came from? When I was younger, I used to go to church. I used to be in a choir. And so the white teacher, there was this white guy, like Lily, who was a teenager. I think his name was Anderson, something like Andy. Like, I think there was an A in his name. And Lily, I was supposed to learn how to play a piano for church and shit like that. So literally, so it comes down to a lesson. My mom is waiting for the guy. Is like, where's brother Anthony and shit like that, Lily. And Lily, he bailed out, and I never learned how to play a piano. And I'm waiting for him. Why is the piano teacher here? And God yelled in my ear, it's because he doesn't want the guy with green eyes to know. He doesn't want the guys with green eyes to know. And literally, I'm like, that can't be true. I'm like, life is that simple, and that's how cruel it is. And he's like, you see how you're good looking and how he doesn't want you to learn a universal trait that's going to get you money? That's what God told me right then and there through street code. He's like, the reason why he's not here is because he doesn't want the guys with green eyes to learn. And then I end up making CD beat after CD beat until it took me 5 years to learn how to make a beat correctly. And that is literally what happened, but I didn't take it. I'm like, dude, I know I have an idea going on. I have great concepts for beats. I'm mixing 2 songs together. He's like, that doesn't work, Eris. That's not 4 count. You can't mix 2 4 counts on top of each other, Eris. That's why you're artistic. You're not listening. You're having fun instead of paying attention and stuff like that. You can't just have fun. You gotta get past the boring stuff in order to make the fun stuff. And then when I got older, I learned that it's the exact opposite. You're supposed to have fun while you're learning. That defeats the whole purpose. And they teach you that when you try to be a teacher. That's why Mr. Pleasure was so funny. So you have to understand that. Like, you learn that over time, but how you grow up is very, very, very cruel. Yes, I'm sorry. A lot of people think that that is a shitty concept. Literally, that piano teacher was not there. All because he didn't want the guy, the green eyes, to learn. And he let that guy suffer for a whole bunch of people saying that he was autistic and he didn't know how to make beats. But once I realized what the formula was, once I realized what the same key was, it wasn't even that difficult, but that's still a horrible concept. He still bailed. Life can't be that cruel. It's very cruel, and it's all because I was good looking. He didn't want me to grow up to make it, and that's every single person in junior high shared the same mindset as that dude that didn't want to teach you how to play a piano. So you can say that I'm autistic, this is something that somebody else created. So you understand that, and that is why life is cool. And you don't understand. Nerds, understand that. Naruto Uzumaki doesn't believe it. Take the example. He didn't want the guys with green eyes to win. Take those examples. That is what life is. And you have to adapt to it. And you have to literally not ignore it, but recognize it. You can't ignore it and say that you're mature. You have to recognize it that it exists. You have to recognize that women exist, but you have to recognize what women come with. That's the difference between my cousin who's obsessed with Mario and is content with Mario and fucking Peter. You can't be fucking Peter and Lily, pretend to be in your own video game world and didn't want to fuck bitches out of nowhere. My cousin knows that you get into games when you try to fuck bitches, so he's content with playing Mario. There's a supreme fucking difference. You can't ignore it. You have to be aware of it, but you don't have to act on it, but you most definitely have to be aware of it. So take those examples. Naruto Uzumaki doesn't work because you can't just say believe it and not block your face. Literally, that's what happened. You have to learn how to fight. You have to learn how to box. Literally, and you have to understand what you see is what you get. Literally, it couldn't be that cruel. He couldn't have built me just for one kid. It is that cruel. It's because it looked good. That is it, and that is all. I'm sorry, nerds. The football game is more important than you. Sorry, that's the truth. But guess what you can do? You know what you can do? You can honestly come back, get a whole bunch of nutty, embrace being a nerd, and where a stripper tries to throw it at you, if a ratchet girl who rejects you in high school tries to throw it back at you, don't give her none. Because at that point, what you're failing to realize is what nerds are going to get out of that if they keep on the same path is they're going to get intellectual properties. That means they're going to get people who like them for who they are instead of people who are going to like them for clout. And what's going to happen to you is you're going to keep on working hard and good people are going to come along the way. You're going to meet a Mr. Pleasure along the way. You're going to meet somebody with a positive message along the way that's going to tell you the truth along the way. And it's going to help you through the situation. You're not just going to have somebody that's going to let the situation fall flat when you're on your shit. But if you're a opinionated like Peter and you literally get everything on paper, but you disregard the whole world, you disregard that girls exist, and you literally think you're the shit because literally you have paper and nothing else, and you're not compassionate at all for other people's feelings, you're going to end up in a rut because you have to be compassionate about other people's feelings, especially when it comes to like real interviews and when it comes to other shit. You can pass an interview being self-centered, but you won't last that life because you have to understand that that is a life skill. That has nothing to do with getting someone's attention. I learned at a job you can fake getting a job. Like, literally, you can get a job based off your looks. Getting a job. That's why I stopped believing in this bullshit called cars. I stopped believing in this bullshit called literally being a celebrity because I all know you can get it through faking it. I know how to fake it till you make it. It's not good. Because literally, fucking, what happens if you literally get a job that's hella boring and you answer the interview hella fun, and then when you get to a job, you don't want to deal with it because it's boring, but you sold yourself doing the interview, huh? I know a whole lot of shit of how people get material things, and that's why I don't give a fuck about it. And you have to understand, after a while, you gotta understand how life works. You have to understand. And people want to know how you have these great relationships with your girlfriend. How does every girlfriend, like, give you such a complex storyline? They want to know this and that. Like, how does a girlfriend literally give you intellectual properties things and not give you shit. How you have this and that? I'm like, I keep on trying to tell you. It's because I kept on looking. It's not like they came out of the thin air. I kept on working on it. I'm sorry, nerds, but that's the reality. Yeah, it's pretty cruel that literally you guys are stuck with people that accept your pity instead of people who actually respect you. But it takes time. It takes time and effort. You have to have a lot of time and effort. It's a lot of mental exercise, not physical exercise. You have to understand situations. You have to just work out. You have to do a whole lot of other shit. Like, you have to work out your mind first and foremost. You have to do a whole lot of other shit. You have to understand, if you want the relationships I have with my girls, then you have to take the respect route. You have to literally deal with somebody spitting on you and accept the fact that they're not hitting you. And you have to understand that. You have to take spit before slap. Basically, if they spit on you and they give you something in return, fine. Somebody's gonna give you something better along the way. I'm not telling you to deal with abuse. I'm saying one spit on the head is better than somebody trying to chop your fingers off. Trust me, I've been in both situations. If you want what I have, you have to put in work. A lot of people want the intellectual properties of me and my girlfriends. They want to have fun like me and my girlfriends, yet they take their approach of treating a girl like a piece of meat and shit like that. Well, I see you get to grow girls at convention. Why can't I, get to treat girls like a piece of meat? It's because I'm already an intellectual, dumbass. I already have personality before I grabbed her ass. That's why she let me do it, dumbass. And I worked hard to get that right. I worked hard to get that privilege. I worked hard to do this, that. If you want what I have, you have to put in work. Never run around it. You can't pull a fucking Livingstone and hide behind a computer screen all day and expect results. That's never going to work. Because he's going to pull that toothful flinching shit and he's going to get his ass knocked the fuck out. That is before and after when you drill in your own bullshit. Remember, the 3 top lessons. The guy didn't want to teach me how to play piano, so I lived my whole life thinking that I was autistic, thinking that I could never make a beat with somebody who could have taught me how to make a beat right then and there. Let it escalate. Yes, nerds, there's such a thing as escalating. Stop literally being in your own little world and lowering your vocabulary. Life is cruel, but take those examples and understand it's because they're full of shit. It's because they let it escalate. It's because I kept on trying. It's why other people supported me. And that's how you live life. You keep on trying, but you don't give it to your emotional speeches. You sit back and you allow yourself to breathe. Just like literally, when I gave up on the air rail, God gave me the opportunity to chill. And he's like, this is how they work. They're full of shit. And then I got something better that came along. My cosplay career. Get that? That's how you live life. You don't literally just take it head on. You don't make a Rocky Balboa speech and get your ass knocked out. You don't do that in life. Life is cruel, but you have to be smart about it. You have to work with God. You see how God is shit. You see how devil's always making plans and shit, always making moves. Everyone, she's not making enough moves. Everyone, she's not grinding enough. And they're always trying to put me in that bad position. You have to learn how to deal with God. That's how you deal with life.